All right, I'm coming. Hey there. It is still Tuesday, July 30th. It is just after lunch, and I apologize for my delay. I was stuffing my face. I let time get away from me, doing all kinds of things, research, and I took some time to play some silly phone games and stuff like that. And yeah, time got away from me, and I realized, holy crap, I should eat something because bodies need food. So I did that, and I realized that I was still going munch at exactly 1 o'clock. So I am late, but that's okay. I'm here now. This morning, we got the AI description showing up in our Blazor app. Let's flip over to the screen share. I also added a new column to my project and task tracker thingy. I added something called committed in between in progress and done. And what committed means is it's basically been pushed into source control and set up to the branch in the server. Done for me means it's been merged into the main branch. And I've also added some things that I need to do that I've been putting off, like updating the documentation with the new projects and architectures and notes and stuff. I really need to get around to improving my test coverage. And there's a whole host of other improvements that I want to make in the short term that I will add as I remember them to the to-do column. For now, though, let's pop in here. We have our button to generate the AI description. Let's go ahead and run this. And we'll let it come up. And it's doing its thing. It's building. And it's working and it's thinking and it's crunching. And goodbye. I really also need to fix this landing page at some point. I want to get rid of that about thing. Because right now it just takes us to Microsoft Learn, which is great, but I don't want it to hang around. Let's go to NPCs. We've got a male half orc. He's 5'10", 220 pounds. He's a bulky guy. Dark green complexion, short black hair. Was a sage, is now a retired glass blower. And let's generate the AI description. And as we see, when we hit the generate AI description, it just kind of starts snoring. We know it's running in the background because I can come and look at the LLM host, but an end user isn't going to be able to do this. They're going to have to go with they're going to have to just go on faith that it's actually working. And that's not fantastic. I'm going to let this finish. And then I want to talk about what we can do to maybe improve this experience even just a little bit. Because if I'm being honest with myself, this sucks. This is a really crappy UX. If I were an end user, I'd have smashed this button 5 or 6 times by now. I would have quit out. I would have hit do another one, something like that. And it would have just left it to die in the background. But we did eventually get our AI description back. We've got our character name, Thorgar the Wise Half-Orc Glassblower. That's a little wordy, but okay. His appearance, standing tall at 176 centimeters. That's not fantastic because we're actually displaying in freedom units, not metric. And he's got dark green skin, short black hair that's often seen in disarray from his work. Yeah. Eyes are piercing blue, exudes an air of quiet confidence. So we could do some things to make the stuff that comes back from the AI a little bit more usable from a code and display point of view. But first, I want to do something about this wait state, because that stinks. That is no good at all. And because we're going to be modifying the code base significantly, that means we need to stop the execution. 9 of 12 just pasted in the chat. I can limit the AI query to a length. And yes, I can. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the only thing that we want to do here. That is one of the things that I'm going to iterate on, but it's not the only thing I'm planning to accomplish with this. First thing we got to do is get some sort of spinner or some indicator that the AI is actually working and hasn't just gone to sleep on us. So I did do some digging in between this morning and now, and I found this Blazor spinner over on GitHub. And let's try it out. He's already got a dotNet CI/CD going into the NuGet. It's passing. There's a demo of what this thing looks like, and I'm gonna click it, and we can say start loading spinner. It'll do this, which is all right. Or we can start loading text, which is also pretty okay. I don't hate it, and I think it'll do for now. You know what? Let's see if there's any other alternatives. Blazor progress indicator. Not a progress indicator, but the actual term for that is a throbber. Throbber component for partial page. A rolling D20 would be really, really, really neat as a UI thing, but it's not something that I want to try to program. But that'd be super cool. How to display loading indicator while Blazor component, partial view in Razor component, Blazor, blah, blah, blah. By loading its content from its URL. I don't want to do that. Building a 3-state loading component in Blazor, and that's a YouTube video. That's not going to help me right now. Creating a Blazor loading spinner component from May of this year. Let's do it. And if this looks like it's going to be a giant pain in the neck, I'm going to fall back to this Blazor spinner package just so that we can get it rolling quickly. Creating a loading solution and adding a Razor class library, the DNC wrapper component, DNC Razor markup, styles, Blazor web app, DNC wrapper that holds the Blazor loading spinner and the Blazor web app. Okay. Creating a loading spinner is quite simple. Yeah, that looks like it's doing the thing. All right. Create a loading solution, adding okay, then blah, blah, blah. Razor class library project, click the next button, DNC common Razor in the project name, loading, .NET 8 is the framework. I already have a Blazor project, and I think I'm just gonna add this as a component. So a new project folder called wrapper, right click the wrapper component and add a class that derives from component base named DNC wrapper component. Okay. So we're going to do a render fragment, child content, public bool loading is true or false, cancellation token source, good, we've got one of those, task, await task, passing the task, set loading. This is really elegant. I quite like this. Cancellation token source equals new. Okay, return await task.wait async. Cancellation token source dot token. I don't have that plumbed out through my async methods. So what I'm probably going to do is add this stuff, but then comment out the cancellation token source for now until I get a better understanding of what that means. e.data.add cancel test true, throw, okay, set loading false, null out the cancel token, set loading, state is changed. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Set loading is responsible for setting the loading property. The await task, okay. We do razor markup. I think I want to do this. Yeah. This is new to me, but that's what this is all about. So let's go ahead and follow these instructions. So rather than setting up a whole new project with this thing, I'm going to add a new project folder called wrapper. I'm not going to do wrapper. I am instead going to come into components and I'm going to add a new folder called components. No. I'm going to add a new folder called gizmos. It's just a synonym for components. And I'm going to add a new, they said class. They did say class. And it's going to be called waiting. Now let's call it a wait component wrapper. Add. Okay, public class wait component wrapper needs to inherit from component base. Great. Save it. Fix the anger text. And it uses ASP.NET Core components. Good. Now we're going to get some more grumpiness. Maybe. Maybe not. So we need public render fragment child content. And that's a get set. And I want to fix the casing. And that gets a special attribute called parameter. And I believe that's going to come in handy when we go to integrate this into my my NPC generator razor thingy. And then we need a public bool loading. Now, I don't like just calling things loading or whatever when it's a Boolean. I like to go with something a little bit more descriptive and is loading. And this uses a public get, but a private set. And we saw this morning when I was doing the stuff with the view model and the set text description. The text description for my NPC is a private set, which means I'm setting the value of this property from somewhere inside this class. Now, finally, we've got a private cancellation token source. Yep. Cancellation token source. Good. And public async task of type T await task of T. It will receive a task of type T task. There. Now, just because I've got the cancellation token source, I'm going to comment this out and add to do re-enable the cancel spelling cancellation stuff once I understand it better and have that capabilities plumbing run through the async code. Because there's no sense passing a cancellation token to a cancelable or to a method that is not yet cancelable. So the next thing the write-up here wants me to do is set loading to true. So I'm going to go set is loading true. True. How about we spell it right? Oh, come on, Rob. There we go. And we're going to need that on its own line where it belongs. And we're going to need to create a method called setIsLoading. So let's do this. We'll come down here. Public void setLoading bool is loading. And I need to call it setIsLoading. We'll do that. And we will say is loading equals is loading. And then there's this set state has changed. And that, I believe, is an event. Void component-based state has changed. Notifies the component that its state has changed. When applicable, this will cause the component to be re-rendered. Good news. Down here in await task, or up here in await task, I should say, we are going to introduce a try. And then we're going to add the catch. And we're looking for task canceled exception. So if our task gets canceled, we're going to do something special. And according to this, all we're going to do is e.data.add. So we're going to decorate that task canceled exception object with canceled task true. And that should be one word because it's going to be a key in a dictionary. Because data, I believe, yep, it's an iDictionary of, and it doesn't tell me what the key value pairs are, but that's okay. I'm going to guess that it's strings. And then all we're going to do is we're going to throw. And then no matter what happens, finally, we're going to call setIsLoading equal to false. Cancellation token source. Oop, back at start. Cancellation token source equals null. Boop. And I'm going to change this to underscore and a lowercase c, and we're going to comment it out because it's commented on up top. And then we're going to go back into our try block. Underscore cancellation token source equals new cancellation token source comments, because we're not doing that cancellation token stuff yet, but we're going to return await task dot wait async there we go. And what is it complaining about? No overload for method wait async takes 0 arguments. Okay, well, what arguments does it require? It might require that cancellation token. So yeah, it definitely wants a cancellation token or a cancellation token or a timeout. I don't want to set a timeout. Or timeout and a cancellation token. Goodness gracious. Okay, I may not have the ability to cancel out of this. Or I may not have the ability to avoid our cancellation token. So, fool around and find out. Let's uncomment this stuff. Pop down here, is loading, state is changed, good, good, good. And I gotta uncomment this. Good. And I just go under, drop the cursor here. And say cancellation token source dot token. All right. So that looks like it's going to control all of the goo of wrapping the stuff and doing the things asynchronously. So all this is doing is wrapping some other component with stuff. And I feel like, okay, we're just scrolled over. All right, that all looks all right. Good. Next step. Now we need the DNC wrapper razor markup. So we need to add a razor component that derives from DNC wrapper component class named DNC wrapper component. Well, I didn't call it DNC wrapper, I called it the wait component wrapper. So I need to add a razor component. That's convenient. And I'm going to call it a wait wrapper. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's get rid of this H3. We don't need that. Goodbye. And I need to at inherits wait wrapper component. Cool. What's that complaining about? What are you grumping? Maybe nothing. All right. Div class equals wait wrapper. Because, so it's going DNC wrapper div class equals loading at loading, blah, 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 show stuff if loading. So in here I need is loading. And then I'm going to need to add a wait wrapper spin, FA, deflags, justify content, span loading. Cascading value is this, child content. Okay. I'm going to get this stuff typed in. Let's do it. So inside the wait wrapper div, we're going to add another div. Class equals loading at open parens is loading. If true, show. Else, empty string. Do that. Okay. And what that does is we're going to decorate this HTML div with a class loading. And then what this is it's a little bit of inline Blazor code that reads the isLoading property from our wait wrapper component. If it's true, this is a ternary if here, if you're not familiar with the syntax. If true, we're going to apply the show attribute. Otherwise, we're just going to apply an empty string. Excuse me. So in here, we say if at, nope. We say at if is loading. And now we get a sort of a C# or a Razor code block. And you know what? I am going to do this. I'm just going to copy from the sample over here. Come all the way back to the starting point of this line of code and go boop, paste. Now, I'm not using DNC wrapper spin. I'm going to use wait wrapper spin. Fa x3, deflex, justify content center, do things, align item center, go away, IntelliSense, FA circle notch, FA spin, span loading. Okay. I wonder. Okay, we're going to fool around and find out. No, we're not. I was going to see if I could parameterize this and have it be a different value here than loading, but let's just get it going first. And then we'll play around and be silly and fun. So outside of the loading wrapper, that's this guy. We need another div. Nope, it's not a div. It's a cascading value with an attribute capital V value equals this. And inside that cascading value, we're going to pass at child content. Okay. The spinner, and according to our write-up, the spinner is only rendered if loading property is true by using an if directive. Otherwise, the content is rendered and the wrapper component is passed as a complex type to all descendant components. Okay, right-click the wrapper folder and add a style sheet named this stuff. So I need to add inside my gizmos, add Do we have it already here? No, we're going to have to add a new item. And it's going to be a style sheet. Here we go. Style sheet.css. I'm going to call it weight wrapper dot razor dot css. Oh, we already have the dot css. Okay, let's add it. This is going to be a whole lot of work to do if it doesn't work for me, isn't it? I will be disappointed. There's a whole pile of CSS over here. I'm just going to grab it. And I'm going to copy, highlight all of this stuff, do a pastaroni pizza. First I'm going to save, and I'm going to change DNC dash wherever I see it to weight dash. So Control H is find and replace weight dash. And I'm just going to do these one at a time. All right. Good. No more occurrences found. Sweet. All right. Now, the next step in the write-up that we're going from is creating a Blazor web app, blah, blah, blah. Add a project reference, import the blah, blah. We've already got all that stuff. I don't need to mess around with any of this. Because we've already got a Blazor project is very nice. Using the DNC wrapper that holds the Blazor loading spinner in the Blazor web app. Okay, so I don't think I want to inherits layout component base. Okay, so that's our main layout. Got a class that derives from component base called employees component. It does things. Yeah. 3 seconds due to a delay in fetching the data. Okay, so it looks like from this snippet, I should be able to. I'm going to save all this stuff first. Let's close up the LLM provider, the function response, unit converters. Let's come into NPC generator and weight wrapper. Not a weight component wrapper, you silly goose. I'm going to need to add a using statement up top, I bet. Yeah. Before we get in there, at using, come on, catch up. Not a using statement, you silly thing. Game tools dot Blazor client dot components looks like my Wi-Fi is taking a nap. Oh yeah. Well, not the Wi-Fi necessarily, but the connection to my Windows laptop took a wee snooze. All right, components dot gizmos. Gizmo! If you haven't watched what we do in Shadows, you are missing out. And I called it a weight wrapper. All right. I'm going to give myself some empty space. And it's grumping. Yeah, I've added a using directive. I'm going to cut this, paste it here. Now, I think I might have goofed up the name. Let me change weight wrapper. I don't know if I like that. Blah, blah, blah. It's doing things. So DNC wrapper is what it's called over here. Weight wrapper. Okay. There's no code there. There's this, child content. All right. Now if I come up here, down into the code, I can add protected weight wrapper component. Weight wrapper. Get set. And add the cascading parameter to it. And save. Let's save all. Weight wrapper is still grumping. Do I need to change it to weight component wrapper? Maybe I do. All right. And so get AI description, private async task. Okay, that does things. So private async task on AI button. Click. I'm going to await the weight wrapper dot await task and I'm just gonna, for now, task dot delay 3000. And I'm going to change the handler from get AI description to, come on, down you get, on AI button click. Let's copy that. Paste it in here. So temporarily, we're not going to be getting any AI descriptions. I'm just doing this to test and see if the weight component wrapper is going to do what we asked it to do for me. So we've fooled around. It's time to find out. And we've got build errors. No, I don't want to. I have 2 errors. Type or namespace name weight wrapper component could not be found. Are you missing? Okay, so where is it complaining? Weight wrapper component, weight component wrapper, you fool. Ha! Weight component wrapper. There's problem 1. Build, rebuild solution. Okay, we've gotten rid of our errors. And it's still trying to build. So it's doing things, blah, blah, blah. And it's still, where else am I referencing weight wrapper component? Components, gizmos. Here? Yeah, because I'm a silly goose sometimes. Paste that. That'll fix it. Now it's lit up green. Okay. I bet over here in my NPC generator, I'd still like to see where those errors coming in, but let's build type arguments for method. The weight cannot be inferred from the usage. Try specifying the type arguments explicitly. Okay. For that, we got to come over here. All right, fine. And task of string equals, we're just going to set up an anonymous method. Task dot delay 3000 milliseconds, return string dot empty. There, maybe that'll make it happy. Man, IntelliSense really doesn't like task string fake task. Fake task. Save. Build. I think this old laptop needs a reboot. I'm going to do it at some point. Because it is not a delegate type. Oh, bite me. So instead of task string, I did it wrong. New task string dot func of string, fake function, and I believe I can do var fake task equals I'm going to have to Google it. It's been a long time since I've done an anonymous task. C# declare anonymous task of string. Okay, new list of tasks, task.add, get value, right, task.win all. Okay. New task of string async fake await fake function. Is that right? Let's save. All right. Save all. Build. Yeah, it still doesn't like it. Get a waiter. Task dot from result string dot empty. Save. Build. Yeah, I'm just making this worse. All right. I need the syntax to create a phony task. I don't want to add to a collection of tasks. Var fake task equals new task of string async await task dot needs to be an uppercase T task dot delay for 3000 milliseconds. Return task dot from result string dot empty. Save. Try building this. Build solution. Async lambda expression to delegate type func string. May return task or task T, none of which are convertible to function of string. Okay. Screw it. Private. Async task of string. Holy crap. String, I said. fake task just for testing. Task, and I have to await it. Dot delay 3000 milliseconds. Return string dot empty. Save. Please, for the love of my own sanity, let this compile. And we have build code. Let's try running it. Janky, Scoob. So working with a flaky connection, and it's not, the feedback isn't coming back to me in real time and stuff like that over the Wi-Fi connection. That can be frustrating. All right, and object reference not set to an instance of an object. This wait wrapper is null, of course it is. Probably because I've got it misnamed up here. I wonder if I can change this back to wait wrapper now. Save. Save all the things. It's not complaining. So here's hoping. So I have a first-time chatter over in the chat while this is doing its things. Do you need to use Visual Studio in order to learn and work with C#.net? Very used to Linux and VS Code. Changing to Windows would be a pain. So, no, you don't have to use Visual Studio in Windows. I'm doing it because it's my preference, but you can work with C# and .NET in Visual Studio Code in a non-Windows environment. As a matter of fact, my main system, I don't know if you noticed the little red, yellow, green dots and the little apple up here in the corner. I'm remoted into a Windows laptop that I have here locally in my development lab, but I've done C# and .NET development on my Mac in VS Code, no problem. There's an extension called the C# Dev Kit. If you install that, it makes a whole lot of stuff a whole lot easier. It lets you set up solution files from right inside the IDE. You can add projects, project references, NuGet packages, etc. All of that stuff. And that extension is free. It's as many of those extensions are. So getting back to this. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. Short answer, yes, AJVMK. You can do C# and .NET development on Linux or even a Mac or what have you. You don't have to use Visual Studio. Getting back to this, let's see if I've got my custom component working. And it's still complaining that wait wrapper is null. So what even is wrong with this? Let's hit stop. Let's come over here. And I've got my loading spinner component. Let's take a look at the .NET Coder stuff over here. So there's my wrapper here. Let me change this to weight wrapper, save, build, and as a matter of fact, if I weren't running a large language model locally on this old laptop that I found, and the only reason I'm using the old laptop for this is because it's got 24 gigs of RAM in it, and my little MacBook Air only has 8, and it gets a little grumpy when I try to run an LLM locally. Um, so that's why I'm doing that. Otherwise, I'd be probably working on the Mac side. Um, Although, no, that's not even accurate. There's a lot of toys and automations built into Visual Studio on Windows that I've gotten used to over my 20 years of working with software. And going to Visual Studio Code, I can get stuff done, but it's not exactly what I would call, for me, an incredibly smooth experience. So let's try running again. We'll just close out of there and we'll come over here. I'm going to push the button and it's going to crash again because weight wrapper is still null. Why even is that? Let's review. We got that cascading parameter protected, blah, blah, blah. Employees component, component base, no. There's that. Routes, I'm not concerned with that. There's all the CSS. Here's all this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, VS Code is really great if you're multi-language, multi-platform, stuff like that. Um, but like I said, I've been slinging code for a long, long time, and I've been using full Visual Studio. The version I'm running is the free version of Visual Studio. And even just the free version has a lot of those automations and stuff that I lean on. Yes, I realize it's a crutch, but relearning like how to do everything through the terminal and all of that stuff is just it's a painful experience. It's what I would consider to be um, unnecessary cognitive load. So it's doing all this stuff. Right click the pages folder, add a class that derives from component base named employees component. I don't want to do all this. That's silly. This blah blah blah, file.read all text. There's no reason that should be throwing up like it is. Unless there's something missing from... Okay, so we've got that in our using. That's out here. Uninitialized async will only be triggered once. Okay, that's fine. Do I need to add? Let's stop here. Is there something I'm missing? No, there's no descending page or anything like that. There's our weight wrapper. There's that. Do I have to actually weight wrapper equals new weight wrapper? That doesn't feel right. That really doesn't feel right. I have a feeling that's going to explode. Okay, so that can stop. Generate. Unhandled error has occurred. What's my error? Doesn't say. But let's see what's happening here. Because I bet we're going to hit our breakpoint. Good. We can step in to our fake task. And continue. Okay. So let's go to await task. Go to the definition over here. Come on, wakey wakey. Let's go here. All right. So set is loading equals true. We'll refresh again. Push this button. And we'll continue. All right, so set is loading. Step in here. So we've set that, state has changed. And it looks like state has changed is what's causing a problem. And I have a feeling that I can probably get some more details in my error out here. An error has occurred while processing the request. Swapping to development environment will display more detailed information about that. Okay. Request. Uninitialize. This is doing all the things. All right. Can I? Here's App Razor, Services Program, Return Builder. That's setting up my services. App.environment.isDevelopment. Just out of curiosity, I wonder what the value of that is when we spin up. I'm just going to step. Okay, use WebAssembly debugging. All right, fine. So we are theoretically in developer mode. It's just being silly. All right. This troubleshooting is going to happen offline, because I've got somebody coming to work on some electrical stuff in the house, and I don't want to lose my network or anything like that. Now, this is crashing when we hit state is changed. And I'd love to see what's going on out here in the state has changed method. All right. This troubleshooting is going to unfortunately need to happen offline. But I will get it sorted out, or I'll back out all of these changes and just roll with that NuGet package if that proves to be a giant pain in the neck. But I do want to figure out what's going on, because I think that's going to give me personally some insights into how this stack works. And as I work through this, the only way I'm going to get good with Blazor or any new stack is to actually dig in when I have problems, like I'm having now. I just don't want to bore you all with me scratching my head and asking rhetorical questions about my own sanity or mental capabilities or anything like that. I want to give you guys bottom line, and I want to give you guys results. So I am going to go obtain those results on my own time. And when we get back together again during my next stream or in the next video, if you're watching in the future, I will have some answers for you, and I'll review what I had to do, how I got there, and why it's going to work. I'll make sure to get all of those questions answered between now and next time. So for now, the sun's shining. I'm going to go outside and actually absorb some UV rays and maybe have my body synthesize some vitamin D, because it's been raining for weeks here. And I'm going to drink water, and I might touch some grass. And then I'm going to come back at this with a fresh head later on. So until next time, take care of yourselves. AJ, thanks for coming in. Those are some great questions. And I am very happy to answer your questions as they come up. And thank you for the follow as well. I will catch you all next time. Ideally, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be good to yourselves.